Assalamu alaikum.
मेहरबानी। Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I hope everyone will be fine and healthy. Let me share screen with you. I hope everyone can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. This is the second lecture on the Material Requirements Planning, MRP. Last week we started MRP and we went through some basics of Material Requirements Planning. Let me briefly go through remind you what we covered last time. So MRP basically addresses two questions like how much is required and when is it required. Then we know that there are two different categories of demand regarding the MRP. We call it independent demand and then dependent demand. So simply remember that independent demand is for the end items, and when we say end items, it means products. And dependent demand is for the components which are used within the products. So MRP deals with both independent as well as with dependent demand, but it depends whether it is the product or the components. The gross requirement or the requirement for the independent demand that comes from the master production schedule. And remember, master production schedule takes its input from the forecasting plus the customer's demand, which are directly put to the organization. So we make a demand management, and then that management is reflected in the as the gross requirement in various periods, and we call it MPS. Some of the components, some of the components are treated as independent. What kind of components? Those components which are used as spare parts for repairs, right? For repairs of the products. So those spare parts are basically we treat them as independent because we don't know that how many products have been produced, but the spare parts are produced irrespective of the number of products. Just thinking that if something goes wrong with the products, then the component can be replaced within the product so that the product becomes functional again. Then the basic process of the MRP, like netting, then the lot sizing, offsetting, things like these. We went through them in the last lecture, and then the output, the inputs to the MRP are basically from the MPS, MPS, from the on-hand inventory, from the scheduled receipts, like these. And the output of the MRP is in three forms. One of the forms is the plain order releases, right? Plain order releases. So that those releases could be either in the form of an order. We call it order when it goes to the supplier to be supplied. So we call that order. And the other form is the same thing, but the other form is in the form of a job. We call it job when we release it to the shop floor for production. So either we can get that component by producing it by the organization itself, or the organization can acquire it from a supplier. So when it acquires it from the supplier, we call it order, and when it is produced by that organization, we call it job. Again, it is the same thing, plain order release. The other form is the change notice. So change notice is basically like sometimes expediting something, or sometimes we postpone an order, especially the scheduled receipts, the SRs. What is SR or scheduled receipt? That is basically the planned order release, which has been released and that is going to be received in a certain time period. So we call it scheduled receipt. Once the release is made, then in the database of the MRP, releases are basically converted into the scheduled receipts because obviously you are going to receive them in certain time periods. So we call it scheduled receipt. So sometimes we expedite the arrival of the scheduled receipt, sometimes we postpone it because of certain reasons. And those reasons are that if you receive it before time or you don't need it at that time, so you can postpone it so that there won't be any extra carrying cost. And we expedite its arrival because if we don't expedite it, then the situation can get worse. Like it may face the starvation. It may not have the inventory on hand. So that is the basic idea behind the chain notices. Then we have the exception notices. So exception notices are basically what you actually uh, expect and what is basically produced. So the difference in that. So that is the exception notices. Uh, We then went through a detailed example, and finally we showed that in the form of a summary that the person or the manager who is using the MRP, he is not interested in the backhand details, what is happening there, because it's basically a software. So he's not interested in that, but obviously he is interested in the summary, that which of the orders are on time, which are going to be late, which needs to be expedited, which needs to be postponed, and something like this. So a summary was there. Today we are going through further details of the MRP. So let's see that. This was the last time, the summary, because it gives you a summary. So from the summary, one can understand that what's going on, like chain notice. So chain notice was issued, yes, and that was for certain quantity. It is based on the previous example. We already have done it. And then plain order releases, what I mean, some of the things are okay, some are going to be deferred or postponed, some are going to be expedited, some are going to be late. So I mean, this summary is more important to the manager. And who is the manager? The person who is basically operating it, or the industrial engineer who is sitting there in the organization. And if he's using he is assigned the inventory part, then he must understand that what is happening over there. Okay. Now, lot sizing, if you remember, lot sizing was used in the previous example. So here we are going through further details of the lot sizing, that how many different techniques are available for the lot sizing. It is one of the techniques is lot for lot. So lot for lot is used in a situation where we are chasing demand. Whatever is the net requirement in a time period, we must receive that quantity in that period. That is lot for lot. And it is basically in conformance with the just in time. So lot for lot is a technique. Then the other one is the fixed order quantity method, constant lot sizes. Then economic order quantity using average demand, fixed order period method using constant lot intervals. Then part period balancing try to make setup or ordering cost equal to the holding cost. So that is a technique. And there is another technique which is known as Wagner-Witten, and that is the optimal technique, in our optimal method to find the lot size. Lot for lot. Then the next one is fixed order quantity. So in the fixed order quantity, I have given an example. Say these are the net requirements. The other information is not given because it is just to explain this technique, that how this technique works. For example, these are the net requirements in the time periods, time period 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, right? So how do we find the fixed order quantity? For example, the fixed order quantity is 50 units. It means you have already decided that in this quantity you are going to place the order, and that is fixed. For example, 50 units. For this quantity is basically calculated using this formula. And this formula, I have simply just to remind you, I have given the same formula here again. This is like the economic order quantity model in the inventory on the, sorry, while covering the inventory topic, we went through different lot sizing techniques. One of them was the economic order quantity model. So that was basically Q is equal to square root of 2AD over H. I think you will remember this formula. The only difference in the economic order quantity model and the fixed order quantity technique is that here in the EOQ model, this demand is constant, right? Demand is basically constant in that case. Over here, we have the average demand. Rest is okay. 2A d bar divided by H, while here 2AD over H, right? That is the difference. So it is the setup cost. This is the carrying cost. Setup cost, carrying cost. Same thing. D over here is the constant demand, while here it is the average demand. So that is the difference. So when we use this formula, we get the average demand, and then when you have the values of the setup cost and the carrying cost, then we can find the fixed order quantity, whatever is that. For example, this Q is equal to 50 units. Then how are we going to use it? Our fixed order quantity is 50 units, okay? What we can do, 15 is the net requirement in period 1, 15 is the next. If we go for 50 over here, for example, 50 over here, then it means 15 can be met, but then we need to move the 35 units to period 2. Here it can meet the requirement of 15, then we can move the rest. So there is a carrying cost associated with that. Why not to have this, less difference in the carrying cost? So if we go for example, 50, right? 50, we ate 60. So 15 plus 15, 30, 30 plus 60, it will be 90. And if we add these two, this will be 30. So 50 is closer to 30 as compared to 50 with 90, because the difference will be more. So that's why we go for this less difference. And that less difference, due to that less difference, the quantity, the actual quantity we need to go for is 30. So if you go for 30, we add them 30 because 30 is closer to 50 units, so we'll go for 30 instead of 90, because the 90 over there the difference between 90 and 50 is 40, while here the difference is 20. So there is less difference, and that's why we go for this 30. So it can meet the requirement of these 2 weeks, these 2 periods. Next is 60, and our fixed quantity is 50. Okay, so difference between 60 and 50, that is 10. If we add the next requirement, so that will be more. Obviously, 60 plus 65, this will be 125, and the difference between 125 and 50 will be more. Over here, it's less. The difference is less, so we go for 60. We take this quantity as our planned order receipt. And similarly, 65, then 65, 55, 55, you just check it. 15, if you go for 15, right, then the difference between 15 and 50, it will be 35. If we add 20 with that, 15, so this will be 35, the difference will be 15. If we add 10, it will be 45, the difference between 45 and 50 will be 5. So there is less difference with 45. So that's why we add these 3, and we issue the order, and must receive it in this period where there is a first net requirement. So we go for 45. So that is the fixed order quantity technique. Next is the fixed order period. So fixed order period. Here we go for the number of periods, that how many periods should be, the requirement of how many periods should be accumulated so that you can go for a lot size. If we consider P as the period, if we take P is equal to 1, it means you have taken the net requirement of every period. P is equal to 1. Then it becomes lot for lot. If P is equal to 1, it means it is lot for lot policy then. So even we can calculate the number of periods, that how many periods the requirement of how many periods should be accumulated. Instead of blindly going, we can even find the number of periods, that this is the number of periods you should go for. It is explained, again, an example, say the 15 is the net requirement in period 2, 45 in period 3, 25, there's no requirement in 4 and 5, 25 in 6, and so on. We can even find the lot size by using the fixed order period technique. One way to determine an optimal value of P is to use the EOQ formula. वो भी एक technique है. And then the average demand in a fashion similar to that used for a fixed order quantity rule. अभी हमने जो वहाँ पे किया है कि अगर हम 2 पीरियड्स को एकोमोडेट करें तो डिफरेंस कम होगा, अगर हम 3 को करते हैं डिफरेंस कम है या ज़्यादा है तो हम फिर वो क्वांटिटी ले लेते हैं। सिमिलरली वी कैन यूज़ दैट थिंग। The total demand for the 9 period in this example, there are 9 periods, 1, 2, 3 up to 9. So 9 periods, the total demand for these 9 periods, if you add them, it is 135 units. 15 plus 45 plus 25 plus 15 plus 20 plus 15. 135. So the average demand, 135 divided by 9. So that is 15 units per period. Suppose the setup cost, this is the setup cost A. Suppose the setup cost is $150 and the carrying cost is $2 per period. $2 per period, right? That is H. For every period, the carrying cost is $2. We can compute the EOQ as this is 2AD bar. This is average divided by H. So simply putting these values here in this equation, we get this lot size as 47.4. Okay. We can then compute the order period as period को कैसे आप कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं? P is equal to your lot size divided by the average demand. So Q just calculated, that is 47.4, average demand is 15, so it gives us 3.16, which is nearly equal to 3 periods. So it means P is equal to 3 periods. Now, what does it mean? It means we need to accumulate the requirements of 3 periods. So from where will we start? We will start from period 1. Okay, in period 1, there is nothing, no demand. So we skip it. We skip this period, right? We start from here because there is no net requirement. So in this period, yes, there is requirement 15. So we take 15, then 8. Because P is equal to 3, we need to accumulate the requirement of 3 periods. So 15 plus 45, next is period 4, and that is 0. So once you start, then you need to add 0, even 0 if there is in any period. So in this period, there is 0. So 15 plus 45 plus 0. Okay. This is 60. So our plain order receipt is of 60. 15 plus 45. So 60 here. It will cover 15 and it will cover 45. Then we start from here. So there, when we start, obviously there is 0. So we skip the period. We skip this period and then start from here because there is net requirement. So 25, 15 plus 20. This is because period is 3. So the requirements of these 3 periods accumulated, and that is due here in the start of period 6. So 60. And then 15, we take 15 because we have reached to the end of the planning horizon. So 15 is taken as 15. Then we have the part period balancing. In the part period balancing, we go for a quantity for which there is less difference in the setup cost and the carrying cost. Or we see that there is a balance between the setup cost and the carrying cost. या उसमें जो difference है वो उस quantity के साथ कम है. So we go for that quantity. कैसे? Kindly mute your mic. किसी का mic on है? Okay. So again, we explain it with the help of an example. Please अपने mic को mute कर दें. पीछे मतलब इसका mic on है तो आवाज आ रही है. Okay. 9 periods. These are net requirements: 15, 45, 25, and so on. How do we proceed? It's the same example. अभी जो हमने से पहले किया उस तरह है. लेकिन इसमें हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि जिस तरह अभी हमने कहा कि हम उस क्वांटिटी को लेते हैं कि जिस क्वांटिटी के साथ सेटअप कॉस्ट और जो कैरिंग कॉस्ट है उसका डिफरेंस कम हो. तो जिस क्वांटिटी के साथ वो डिफरेंस कम होगा हम उस क्वांटिटी को लेंगे, वो हमारा लॉट साइज बनेगा. कैसे? We take 15 initially. 15. Now, to go for 15, our setup cost, there is no effect on the setup cost. Whether you go for one unit, you go for 10 units, you go for 100 units. If you are going to produce them on one setup, then the cost will remain the same. So this setup cost of 150, it is taken from the same example. This यही example है, उससे लिया गया है कि setup cost जो है वो $150 है और जो the carrying cost is that is $2 per period. So for 15, the setup cost is 150. इसका क्या मतलब है कि यहाँ पर थोड़ी देर के लिए इमेजिन कर रहे हैं कि यहाँ पर कुछ भी नहीं लिखा, ये 60 नहीं है, यहाँ पर भी 60 नहीं, यहाँ पे 15 भी नहीं है, एंड यू टेक 15, यहाँ पर आप 15 ले लें, क्योंकि आप उसी क्वांटिटी को जो है पीरियड 2 की उसी को ले रहे हैं. सो 15, व्हेन यू गो फॉर 15, इट मींस यू आर मीटिंग द नेट रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ पीरियड 2 ओनली. You are not carrying any inventory to the next period because 15 is enough to meet 15. So no carrying cost over here. Setup cost will be there because you are going to produce it or you're going to order it. So that cost will be the same. So 150 part periods का मतलब ये है कि if you are carrying parts, so for how many periods? So it is the number of parts multiplied by the number of periods. उसका जो product है वो आपको मिलेगा यहाँ पर. Since we are not carrying any part, so this is basically zero. When this is zero, it means your inventory carrying cost is zero because we are not carrying inventory. If we go for 15, so there is no carrying cost. Okay. What if we add 45 with 15? So this will be 60. Setup cost will remain the same. जिस तरह मैंने अभी कहा आपसे कहा कि अगर आप 5 यूनिट बनाते हैं, आप 10 बनाते हैं, 50 बनाते हैं एक ही सेटअप पे, तो वो तो कॉस्ट सेम रहेगी सेटअप कॉस्ट. सो इफ यू गो फॉर 60, सेटअप कॉस्ट विल रिमेन द सेम 150, लेकिन कैरिंग कॉस्ट के साथ क्या होगा? If you go for 60 over here in this period, 15 will meet the requirement of this period, 15, but 45 will be carried for one period. एक पीरियड के लिए आप इसको कैरी करेंगे, सो 45 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 1, 45 पार्ट पीरियड्स हो जाएंगे, एंड देयर इज अ कॉस्ट एसोसिएटेड विद दिस एंड दैट इज $2 पर पीरियड, पर यूनिट पर पीरियड. एक यूनिट के लिए एक पीरियड के लिए जो कॉस्ट है दैट इज $2. सो 45 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 2 दैट विल बी 90. ओके, नेक्स्ट वी गो एंड एड दिस 25 एज वेल. इसको भी ऐड कर लेते हैं. So 60 plus 25, this will be 85. We go for 85. Setup cost will remain the same. Out of 85, 15 are meeting the requirement of this period. 45 are being carried for how many periods? One period. एक की पीरियड के लिए 45 out of 85, 45 will be carried for one period because there is a net requirement of 45 in period 3. So 45 तो यहाँ पर आप कैरी करेंगे, लेकिन ये 25 जो हैं you will carry them for 4 periods. If we go for 85 over here, so 85 will meet the requirement of 15. Rest will, out of 85, 45 will be carried for one period and 25 will be carried for 4 periods in order to meet this requirement. And this will be 145 because 45 from here plus 25 multiplied by 4. 145 एक यूनिट के साथ $2 कॉस्ट है, तो this will be 290. Now see the difference. Setup cost is 150. यहां पर हमारे पास जो इन्वेंट्री कैरिंग कॉस्ट है वो क्या है? 0. 90, 290. अब 150 now in 150 and the inventory carrying cost 0 के साथ अगर हम if we take the difference of 150 with 0, the difference will be 150. If we take here with this quantity, the difference will be 150 minus 90, 60. Over here the difference will be 150 minus 290 or 290 minus 150, the difference will be 140. Yes. तो किस क्वांटिटी के साथ कम डिफरेंस है? The quantity with which there is less difference, that is 60. 150 minus 90, only the difference of 60. लेकिन ऊपर और यहाँ पे नीचे difference बहुत ज़्यादा है. So we go for the quantity where we have less difference in the setup cost and the inventory carrying cost. So that is associated with 60. So we go for 60. That's why 60 is written here. Similarly, then the next one, 25, वो यहाँ पर है. If we go for 25, the difference will be 0 because it will be produced in the same period. The setup cost will be 150. If we go and add 15 with 25, this will be 40. And if you go for 40, then we will carry 15 for one period. If we go for 40 plus 20, 60, then obviously we are going to carry 15 for one period and 20 for two periods. If we add further this 15, this will be 75, and then this will be the situation. So again, now looking at the difference, 150 and 0 के बीच में difference है, वो 150 का है, 150 and 30 का difference 120 है, 150 और 110 का difference 40 है, 150 and 200 का difference 50 है. So difference यहाँ पे कम lie कर रहा है between 150 and 110, and the quantity associated with this is 60. So we will go for 60 here, and then this will be left. So we take it as whatever net requirement, like 15 here. So that is the part period balancing. इसके अलावा जो और भी हैं जो टेक्निक हैं, heuristic techniques भी हैं, Wagner-Witten भी है, but Wagner-Witten itself takes a lecture. उस पे complete lecture चाहिए उसको explain करने के लिए. So inshallah some other time. Okay, now usually the companies try their best to, or the organizations try their best to keep the optimum quantities of the inventory, right? That is the ideal situation. But in reality, I mean, many things can go wrong. Like you may not receive the shipments on time. For example, there is a shipment from Karachi to Peshawar, and it is coming by road, and the roads are blocked due to some reasons. Then obviously your shipment is going to be late. So in that case, the organizations keep certain inventory as the safety stock. And similarly, we can go for the safety lead times. Lead time is calculated when you place an order and when you receive the shipment. So the time elapsed between placing an order, when you place an order, so what happens? The order is received by the supplier, right? And or sometimes if you are going, it is in the form of a job, then it is obviously going to the shop floor. So they will receive the order that they need to produce so many things or so many items. Even the machine can break, so or the shop can be under maintenance, shut down. Many situations can occur. So obviously the lead time is going to be increased. In either case, if you go for a safety lead time, so it will give you a further cushion. Similar, so both safety stock and safety lead times give the organizations some cushion, some comfort. Here are the reasons. Generate net requirements to ensure minimum level of inventory at all times. Right? So you will see this with the help of an example. Then it is used as a cover against quantity uncertainties or yield loss. Similarly, safety lead times. So it inflates the production lead times in part record, are used as a hedge against time uncertainty. If there is uncertainty in the time, and the deliveries get delayed, so in that case, it covers us. This is the example of the safety stock. It's the same like the previous MRP records, but only the safety stock row is added. These are part numbers, for example, then part period. These are periods. gross requirements of the, then scheduled receipts, adjusted scheduled receipts. In this case, there is no. It's just a record to explain that how we use this safety stock. For example, there is 40 on hand. 40 on hand. So when 40 is on hand and this is the situation, then obviously you can calculate your net requirements from here, or simply the on hand will be, for example, 40. So 40 minus 10, 30, 30 minus 15, 15, 15 minus 10, 5. And your first net requirement accordingly will come here in this period. Okay. What if we take the safety, certain stock as a safety stock? So obviously, in this case, 40 was on hand, and if you are keeping 10 as the safety stock, then your on hand will be 30 because 10 are kept as the safety stock. So 30 and then 30 minus 10, 20, 20 minus 15, 5, 5 minus 10, minus 5. So your first net requirement is coming in this period, while according to the previous situation, it is coming here because it is positive, and here it will be 5 minus 20 minus 15. So here will be the net requirement in this period. So it just shows that how do we use the safety stock. So initially it is kept as a stock, as a safety stock, and from there we move on. Similarly, in the lead times, same example, without safety stock, but with safety lead times. So 40 on hand, we are going like this. Here is our first net requirement minus 15 in this period. So we must receive certain quantities, and obviously this is period. So 35, this is basically fixed order period technique, which is used in this particular record. And so we are going to receive it. So if we take 1 week as a safety lead time, so obviously you are going to receive it in week 3 instead of week 4, just to be on the safe side. And accordingly, then the order is released, which is the plain order released, which is 35. So 2 weeks before that. So it is just explaining the safety stock and the safety lead times. Both are used to give some cushion to the organizations. Here is now the one which you need to focus on, and that is the nervousness in the system. Nervousness in MRP, you can call it. It is basically the software. And within the software, we are simply putting in numbers. The system can become nervous if we make a change, slight change. When we say system nervousness, it means we are going to make a slight change in the gross requirement, and that slight change can result in a much bigger problem, and the system becomes nervous. So if that is the situation, how are you going to cover, or how are you going to encounter such a situation, which is basically nervousing the whole system? Let me explain it with the help of an example. This example is taken from this book, Volman, Berry, and Weibark. So they write it Volman et al., and it was published in 1992. I have the recent copy of this book as well. But anyway, this example is taken from that book. We consider 2 parts. Give me a minute. We consider 2 parts. Item A has a lead time of 2 weeks. There is an item. It has a lead time of 2 weeks and uses fixed order period, lot sizing rule. Now we know what is fixed order lot sizing rule. Oh, daga khushta kana Panadol tablets. Okay. We consider two parts. Item A has a lead time of 2 weeks and uses the fixed order period lot sizing rule with an order period of 5 weeks. Each unit of A requires 1 unit of component B, which has a lead time of 4 weeks and uses the fixed order period rule with an order period of 5 weeks. And these tables are showing it. Okay, very simple. There are two items, A and B. The gross requirement of item A, they are given here. 2 required in period 1, 24 in period 2, and so on. There is no scheduled receipt. If you go through this record, you won't find any. So obviously there is no adjusted SR. On hand is 28. Now 2 is the net requirement, on hand is 28. So we can meet the requirement of the first week easily, leaving behind 26. So 26 will be on hand. Now 26 and next is the requirement of 24. Again, we can meet the requirement of week 2 as well. 2 will be still with us as on hand. Give me a minute, please. Okay, so 2 will be with us as on hand. Now 2, net, the gross requirement is 3, so obviously 1 is short, so -1. This -1 becomes our net requirement, right? This is our T star period, so 1 is the net requirement. Then next is 5 gross requirement, but we don't have anything to cover it. So 5 is the net requirement, 1 is the net requirement, 3 is the net requirement, and all these gross requirements become the net requirements. Now, the planned order receipt, we are given the fixed order rule, and that uses 2 weeks time, lead time of 2 weeks, and uses the fixed order period lot sizing rule. Okay, with an order period of 5 weeks. Lot sizing rule with an order period of 5 weeks. So we accumulate the requirements, net requirements of 5 weeks. This is week. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just add them. This is 14. 14 must be received in this period 3. And then 50. So 50 comes here. Now the lead time is 2 weeks for this. That was given here. It has a lead time of 2 weeks. So 14, in order to receive 14 in week 3, we must release the order in week 1. So 14 is released here. That is the first planned order release. And this 50 is here. These are now releases. These releases will become the gross requirement for part B. Because there are 2 items, A and B. To A, the gross requirements are coming from the MPS. And since B is the component of A, so obviously the planned order releases of A will become the gross requirement of B. This release, which is in period 1, that will be the gross requirement for part B in period 1, and 50 will be in period 6. So 14 and 50. Okay. Now there are 14 SRs for B. There are 14 SRs in period 1, and obviously you have 2 on hand, so they are needed. I mean, there is no need to issue a change notice because you need them, because 2 are not enough to meet 14. So 14 plus 2, 16, 16 minus 14, 2. So 2, no requirement, so 2 carried until period 5. Then 50 is the net requirement in period 6, while you have only 2. So minus 48, it means this is your first This is the time where you have the first negative on hand, and that becomes your net requirement, 48. 48 must be received. That's why I obtained order receipt here. 48 must be received because you need them in this period. And the lead time for this is 4 weeks. That was mentioned in the example, which has a lead time of 4 weeks. So in order to receive it in period 6, the order must be released in period 2. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. No problem so far. Now, what about the nervousness? Okay. This is the data for item A. The only difference is instead of 24, if you go for 23, it can happen, for example, say a customer has withdrawn an order. एक customer ने अपना एक unit जो है वो withdraw कर लिया है item A का. So obviously instead of 24, now say it is 23. Rest is okay. So 2, 23, 3, 5, rest is okay. Yeah. 2, 23, 3, 5, 1, 3, 4, 50. वही data है. But instead of 24, now we have 23. And you have 28 on hand like previously. 28 on hand. There is no SR and 28 on hand. Okay, 28 on hand. 28 minus 2, 26. 26 minus 23, 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. You don't have anything to cover 5, so this is minus 5, and this is your first net requirement. Then 1 net requirement, 3 net requirement, 4 net requirement, and 50 net requirement. The lot sizing rule for this is fixed order period and lot sizing rule with an order period of 5 weeks. आपने 5 weeks की जो requirement है उसको accumulate करना है. Okay. So to accumulate the net requirements of 5 weeks, we take 5 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 50. When we add them, it comes out as 63. So this is 63. 63 must be received now. If you compare it with the previous one, it will be different. 63 is now the net requirement. Lead time is 2 weeks, no change in the lead time. So there's no problem. We can receive this 63 if we release the order in week 2. No problem. Now this is item A. Obviously, this is going to be the gross requirement for item B. This is going to be the gross requirement for item B, and that is shown here. Gross requirement for item B. Now, for item B, there were 14 SRs, or 14 scheduled receipts, and 2 on hand. So 14 SRs and 2 on hand. Now, since the gross requirements are now changed, there's no gross requirement in period 1, so 2 is carried, and since these 14 are not required now in period 1, so a change notice will be issued to postpone it to the next period. So it is postponed for the next period, and adjusted SRs are now shown in period 2. Now we have 2 on hand, 14 as scheduled receipt, so we add them. 2 plus 14, 16, 16 minus 63. 16 minus 63, this is minus 47, and then nothing. So we must receive 47. We must receive 47 in the same period, right? This 47 is the net requirement. We must receive 47 in the same period. Now, the lead time for this, lead time for item B, it has a lead time of 4 weeks. 4 weeks. While here, we have only 1 week. Here we have only 1 week. The earliest this order can be released is period 1. So this is definitely going to be late. So we put a star on it, that it is going to be late. You saw that the system has become nervous. When it was 24, everything was okay. But when we made a slight change in the gross requirement of the end item, it resulted in a much bigger problem in the component, in the next item, which was item B in this case. Now, how to deal with this? There are different ways. There are different ways to deal with this. Sometimes we call it, here, we made a change in week 2. Instead of 23, we went for, initially it was 24, but then we made a change and we went for 23. So there is a time fencing technique. Time fencing are technique. What do we do in that technique? We basically freeze. We freeze the initial few periods, for example, 4 weeks. These first 4 weeks are completely frozen. Frozen means that no change allowed, even if there is a change in the demand, but you don't allow any change. Keep it as it is. Don't allow any change, right? So we freeze it, the first 4 weeks are frozen. The next 5 to 7 weeks or 5 to 8 weeks, they are rigid. They are rigid. Try to resist change, but if something is very, very urgent, then you can make a slight change. Then from week 8 to 10 or 12, less rigid. And from there onward, from week 12 or week 13 onward, you can make any change. Why? Because you will have ample time. You will have ample time to accommodate those changes within the system. So that is one technique, time fencing. Another technique is the, because if we resisted this change, no, that we are not going to make a change, then obviously the system would have been okay. No nervousness in the system, but we allowed a change, which should not be the case. So this is the situation now. The system has become nervous. What should it do? The earliest you can release an order is week 1, while the lead time for this is 4 weeks. Another way, एक तो मैंने ये बता दिया कि टाइम फेंसिंग करें आप. टाइम फेंसिंग से ये आपकी नर्वसनेस खत्म हो जाती है. एक और चीज है जिसको हम कहते हैं फर्म प्लान्ड ऑर्डर. फर्म FIRM, फर्म प्लान्ड ऑर्डर, उसको यूज करें. Now, the firm planned order, let me define it. Like we defined scheduled receipt. Let me go back and just to remind you that what we actually defined. This scheduled receipt, that is a planned order release, which is released. What is planned order release? These are planned order releases, your outputs. ये सारे आपकी planned order releases and these are your planned order release. So scheduled receipt is basically a planned order release. Scheduled receipt is a planned order release which is released. It goes to the supplier or it goes to the shop floor for production, and once it is ready or it is produced or the shipment is made, then it is going to be received in certain time period. जहाँ पे किसी time period में receive हो जाता है. So scheduled receipts are planned order releases which are basically released and they are going to be received in certain time period. Now the firm planned order is also a planned order release. That is also a planned order release which is released intentionally. That is released intentionally just to give some comfort or some cushion or some liberty to the organization to deal with cases like nervousness, so that you won't have any nervousness in the system. Although it is going to put a slight burden on the organization, like extra inventory, but it basically gives you some cushion. Okay, so we can use the firm planned order. And how to use it? Take again the same example. Here, gross requirement for item A. Okay, we made this change to 23, and with this 23, actually, we saw that in part B there was some nervousness. But anyway, we take this data. You see now here, scheduled receipts, and we added another row, we call it firm planned orders. Okay, when there was no nervousness in the system, right? When there was no nervousness in the system, go back to item A. Here. These releases, I said that firm planned order is basically a planned order release, which is released intentionally. And we saw that with a slight change, it is becoming nervous. The system became nervous. So we are going to counter that with a firm planned order, and we made this release as the firm planned order. जो रिलीज है वीक 1 की, इसको हमने फर्म प्लेन ऑर्डर कर दिया, और उस पीरियड में जहां पर ये नर्वसनेस जिस पीरियड से आ रही थी. सो दैट्स हियर 28 वाज ऑन हैंड, वी टुक इट एज 23 जहां से हमारे पास नर्वसनेस आ रही थी, लेकिन हमने जो प्लेन ऑर्डर रिलीज थी इसको ब्रैकेट में इसलिए शो कर रहे हैं कि हमने उसको जो है प्लेन ऑर्डर रिलीज फर्म प्लेन ऑर्डर में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. ऐसा समझें कि ये हमने इंटेंशनली पहले ही यहाँ से रिलीज कर दी थी ताकि आपको मिल जाए इस वीक में, क्योंकि वहां से सिस्टम में नर्वसनेस आ सकती है. ये तो सॉफ्टवेयर है, इससे तो आप प्ले कर सकते हैं कि अगर आप ये ऐसे कम करते हैं, ये करेंगे तो क्या सिस्टम पे असर पड़ सकता है. यू कैन डू इट बिफोर टाइम. सो 28 minus 2, 26, 26 minus 23, 3, 3 minus 3, 0, but there are 14 plain orders. Firm planned orders. So schedule receipts, firm planned orders on hand, ये सब on hand में basically contribute करते हैं to, and they are used in the coverage analysis. So 14 still with you as on hand. 14 minus 5, 9, 9 minus 1, 8, 8 minus 3, 5, 5 minus 4, 1, 1 minus 50 minus 49, and this is your first net requirement now. So 49. And since this is shown in the brackets that you need to do it before nervousness when it was like this, so that is shown as within the brackets. So 14, and for this 14, obviously you need to release this order in week 1. So this is this is first gross requirement of part B, 14 here, 49 here. Now these will be the inputs as gross requirement to part B. So 14 and 49. 14 were there as scheduled receipts. It was given initially in the data. 14 scheduled receipt and 2 were on hand. So 2 minus 14, but since there are 14 on hand, so it's total 16. 14 plus 2, 16, 16 minus 14, 2. Nothing until here. So 2 minus 49, minus 47. And now this is your first net requirement. So you must receive this 49 here, and now look at this 47. Sorry, 47. So in order to receive this 47, you can now easily release the order in week 2. Previously, it was shown with the static over here that this 47 is going to be late. Now nothing, everything is fine. And that nervousness has been covered up by the firm planned orders. So we can either use firm planned orders, or we can go for time fencing technique. Time fencing technique is quite simple, like it's simply like implementing your order or your policy that you won't allow any change. Even if there is a change, you are not allowing that change in the first 4 or 5 weeks. Then in the next 2-3 weeks, you are going to be very rigid. In the next, less rigid, and then from there onward, you can define those number of weeks. But usually as a policy, you can check whether 4 weeks are, I mean, okay, depending upon your suppliers, whether your suppliers are locally available or they are in other countries as well. So you accordingly you can calculate your lead time and can fix those fencing times. Okay, after MRP is then basically used. Initially, it was used in isolation, but later on, it was made a component of MRP2, manufacturing resource planning. MRP is used for material resource planning, and MRP2 is used for manufacturing resource planning. So MRP was extended to into master production schedule, then rough cut capacity planning, capacity requirements planning, and production activity controls. And I think I have defined them here. This is the hierarchy for the MRP2. It's a demand forecast, including resources, and then we make a master production schedule from it. And then we go for the rough cut capacity, whether we can meet those requirements or not. Do you have, I mean, whether the organization has enough capacity to meet capacity requirements planning, which is slightly more detail, and then the jobs are released, job dispatching rule, inventory status, again that is input to the MRP. So this is basically the hierarchy of the MRP2. And over here, you can go for, I mean, you can categorize it into long-term planning, then medium-term planning and short-term planning. Okay, basically this is in the MPS. MPS drives the MRP. And we have just seen it because that is the major input, one of the major inputs to the MRP. And it should be accurate in near terms. Obviously, it should be maybe inaccurate in long term. Like if you go iski jo inaccuracies are if you go for a longer period of times, you, for example, if you forecast for 5 years and from there you make the MPS, so obviously it is subject to more errors, like anything can happen in the longer term. So that's why less accurate in the longer term, but more accurate in the shorter term. And obviously it has a software support, including the forecasting, order entries, netting, etc. Rough cut capacity. So we check on capacity of key resources. For example, we have enough people in order to meet the production requirements. Do we have enough machines or resources to produce those things? Use bill of resource for each item. Then generate usage of resources by exploding MPS. Infeasibilities addressed by altering MPS leading capacity or overtimes. This is the CRP. It is more detailed than the rough cut capacity. So uses routing data, work centers and times for all items, then explodes orders against routing information, generates usage profile of all work centers, usage profile that for how many hours this particular machine is going to be busy, whether it has some idle time or not, or it is, I mean, fully utilized, so we can even check those things. Identifies overload conditions, more detailed than the RCCP, which is the rough cut capacity planning, and no provision for fixing problems like these. These are production activities controls, so scheduling, etc., are used in this shop floor. जो scheduling करते हैं, and we use those different techniques. First come first serve, shortest processing time, longest processing time, some genetic algorithms. All these techniques are used on the shop floor to schedule the items for production. Also, it can be used to control the inputs and outputs, and accordingly, the inventory can be controlled. So many things. This is the ERP. Just give you a flavor of it. I mean, ERP, the MRP2. I mean, that is then further extended into ERP. I mean, that is used in the ERP. And ERP is basically it integrates many things like integration of, you see, IT, then MRP, which is converted into MRP2 because MRP2 is in more details, then business planning, re-engineering, supply chain management. So all these things, I mean, they are converted into the ERP, and this shows the integration approach, advantages and disadvantages. Okay, I have taken this from the book Factory Physics by Haupt and Spearman, and the book is available in our library. It is also available in the soft form. Now, if you have any question, please, you can ask. Any question?
सर ये लास्ट जो 2 लेक्चर्स है सर वो तो रिकॉर्ड हुए हैं लेकिन शेयर भी हुए हैं सर लेकिन वो प्ले नहीं हो रहे हैं सर
आई डोंट नो कि ये प्रॉब्लम सिर्फ आपके साथ है, बाकी सबके साथ भी है।
सर बाकी के साथ भी है, फैसल ने भी मैसेज किया था ग्रुप में सर।
Yes sir, we have the same issue.
सेम इशू, प्ले नहीं हो रही।
नो सर प्ले
Yes
नहीं
sir.
हो रहा है सर। वो एरर आता है कि वीडियो बहुत लॉन्ग है इसलिए वो प्ले नहीं हो रहा।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा, तो मेरे ख्याल से इसको जो है आप जानते हैं इश्तियाक को, वो असिस्ट करता है मुझे, तो मैं उसको कह दूंगा कि भाई अगर वो उसके वो ड्यूरेशन ज्यादा है, साइज बड़ा है, शायद प्ले इस वजह से नहीं हो रहा होगा, तो वो उसको पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर ले और फिर
सर
वो
मैंने मैसेज किया था सर इश्तियाक सर को लेकिन कोई रिप्लाई नहीं दिया सर। आप उसको
ठीक है, मैं उसको कह दूंगा। असल में वो एग्जामिनेशन वगैरह, ये एडमिशन वगैरह में बिजी भी रहता है, बाकी काम ये है उसके, लेकिन आपका मैसेज मैं डेफिनेटली उनको पहुंचा दूंगा। तो
ओके सर थैंक यू।
कोशिश करे कि जो लेक्चर है उसको, उसका मतलब छोटे छोटे पार्ट में करके उसको अपलोड किया करे ताकि वो इजीली प्ले हो। और बाकी इसमें आपकी लैब्स वगैरह जो है उसमें लाल सैद है, तो वो कवर कर रहे हैं चीजें कुछ कि नहीं?
यस सर
Yes
कवर
sir.
कर रहे हैं।
कर रहे हैं
अच्छा,
वो।
आपके ये क्विजेज वगैरह भी हो रहे हैं उसमें?
सर अभी तक एक असाइनमेंट हुआ है।
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है, मैं उसके साथ कोऑर्डिनेट कर लूंगा। तो आपकी कुछ असाइनमेंट्स और क्विजेज जो है मैं उसे कह दूंगा, तो वो आपसे अपने लेक्चर में ले लिया करेंगे, ठीक है,
ओके सर
रिगार्डिंग दी सब्जेक्ट, और बाकी जो लैब काम है वो भी। सो ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच, गॉड ब्लेस यू, इंशाल्लाह विल मीट नेक्स्ट वीक। ओके, अल्लाह हाफिज।
अल्लाह हाफिज सर।
Amir Saif, salamuna.